All right. Hello, everyone. I am accepting some participants into the Zoom, and I am just about to, I just sent you guys a chat so that you can introduce yourselves. Let's see here. We've got so many people joining. This is so exciting. Okay. So hello, everyone. Please share a little bit about yourselves and where you're tuning in from and any insights on your resale journeys you want to share. We will communicate here in the chat. So guys, if you are tuning in live, what I do is I have the chat on so that we can, talk there. I can take some questions at the end of the webinar, but this is going to be more so you guys tuning in anonymously, which is really nice because if you need to do something right now, like have dinner, you could just listen to me and watch and not have to be an active participant. So if you are here and you see the chat, please introduce yourselves, just say hello. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We're going to have a lot of replay viewers. So I also want to say thank you for watching the replay. I'll be uploading this later on this evening to YouTube and sending it to our list of signups who signed up for this first Sell More Vintage webinar of 2023. So I'm going to get us started here. We have quite a number of participants live, which is so exciting, but I'm going to give us about 2 more minutes before I actually share my screen and start talking and sharing and teaching and motivating. This is a 75-minute presentation, and I don't want it to go longer than it should because I know you guys, including myself, have things to do tonight. But my name is Sammy Davis, and I am a vintage lover. I am a reseller. I am a digital entrepreneur. I'm going to share more about my journey with you guys during tonight's webinar, but I first want to say thank you for being here, whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay. It is appreciated, and my passion beyond the vintage, beyond everything that you see on camera, my true passion is just really inspiring people and showing them that they can have the power to do what it is that energizes them and that excites them in their lives. So chances are you're here because you love, oh, you can't post it to everyone. Oh no, okay. Well, thank you, Yulia. I'm not quite sure how to change that, but I'll take a look before we get started. Oh, well, you know what? I'll read it out loud. So you guys just chat per normal. So hi, Katie. Thank you for being here. I'm going to see just, oh, I just changed it. Okay, I just changed it to everyone. Now it should be to everyone. Sweet. There's always a Zoom thing, when I first logged on tonight, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I, mute everyone, turn off your videos so that when you log on, there's no background noise. And I always kind of have to, play around until I can figure that out. But I do, again, I really appreciate you guys tuning in live, and whatever you need to do as you listen in, please do it, and you will get the replay link sent to you. So just check your spam, check your trash, just in case you're not getting my emails, which is part of the problem with using a email marketing service, is that the emails don't always land where they're supposed to. So all right, guys, I think that it's time to get started. We are recording. So again, thank you for being on the live Sell More Vintage webinar. I'll share really quickly before I share my screen with you that the last time I hosted this webinar was back in September. So it's been a minute. So I might speak a little bit more from the heart than from my script, which is always better. But I have been leading these webinars since February of 2022 because I realized that sometimes you need to condense and just organize information for people so that they can take it in and they can understand the big picture and they can decide if something is right for them. And by the end of this webinar, my intention is that you are educated on the power of social selling, on how to sell more vintage, and that you feel inspired. So let's get to it, guys. I'm going to share my screen, so just give me a second as I share. my slides, and then I'm going to ask you guys, because you're probably seeing some other things. I just want to make sure that you can see my screen, and we have a few more people entering. So I just want to make sure that I enter them. All right, cool. So you guys might see me bring some more people into the webinar. All right, I'm going to present this so that you guys see it full screen. Present. Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys can see this because it says I'm screen sharing, but I want to make sure if you guys are having problems, just let me know in the chat. Yulia, that's so awesome. You live in an antique house? Yes, love it. I'm actually in a home. This is part of the reason that there's a brick wall from 1920, and it makes me so happy. It's renovated, but it still has these bones, and I just like touching the brick wall. That is so awesome. Thank you for sharing more. And if anyone is tuning in, we just had a few more individuals join. Please introduce yourselves in the chat, and we are going to get started. So again, guys, welcome to the Sell More Vintage Clothing webinar. My name is Sammy Davis. I am the founder of Vintage Boss Babes, which is a buy-sell membership community on Facebook. You will learn more about that tonight. But this webinar is for you guys. It's for vintage sellers. It's for vintage lovers, those that just collect and just foster vintage, want to give it happy homes. And this webinar, my intention is to show you how to sell more, how to make more money, because ultimately we all want to have more time to do what we love, which is sourcing. Okay, raise your hand. Whether you're like sitting at home or moving around, raise your hand and just nod with me. Yes, I love sourcing, because I think that's why most of us do this business, is because we love the thrill of the hunt. So first, just to give you guys some context, I do want to share with you a little bit more about my background, which it's a crazy background. I'm going to be real with you, but I'm so grateful that I learned what I learned at a young age, because now I'm just so much more confident about the power of social selling, which is what I'm going to focus this webinar on tonight. So let's go back in time, guys. This is me. I was doing this Katy Perry thing where I just wanted to dye my hair brown and have blue eyes. So even though I'm naturally a blonde, in 2008, 2009, my hair was dark. So that was me. These are my flea market setups. So I've lived in New York City for almost 15 years now. And how I got started is I started selling at flea markets because I was so passionate about thrifting from the age of 16 that I had collected some just really dope stuff. And having been introduced to the flea market scene of New York City, and to be quite frank with you, I was very bored at my day job. I actually have a publishing background. So I thought to myself, okay, well, you know what? Like on the weekends, I'll sell vintage. And we have Melissa joining the Zoom. Hello, Melissa. So I was like, okay, on the weekends, I'm going to sell vintage. I'm going to work my 9 to 5. I'm going to sell vintage on the weekends. Absolutely ridiculous, but I did it. And I thought that setting up at a flea market was going to be like just my solution to, making a lot of money in the vintage world, because I personally was always shopping the market. So I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to do really well. This is going to be easy. I'm going to bring my inventory to the people who want it. Well, and let's go to the next slide, shall we? I had some challenges, okay? So if you have sold at a flea market and you are tuning in and can get to the chat, I'd love to see if there's anyone here who has sold at a flea market. Hi, Claudia. So glad you're tuning in. Flea markets are great. Artisan markets are great, but there's some serious challenges. I mean, first of all, you usually have to prepay. And by prepaying, you are committing yourself to a date. So what if there's, terrible weather? What if there's a national crisis? What if there's an event that you didn't know was happening? And then all of a sudden, like roads are blocked. You really kind of you squeeze yourself into a corner and you can't always get out of it. And then you've spent money and you don't have a successful selling day. You also have to load up your vehicle. You have to set up, you have to break down. Oftentimes, especially as women, we don't really have people helping us. We're just sort of doing this on our own. And it can be really physically taxing. Like I just remember being so tired because I'd wake up really early on a Saturday. I'd load up my car. I'd drive down to Brooklyn from Harlem. I'd have the clothing racks. I'd have the table. I'd drag it all out. Like it was just always such a big to do. And then some of the other challenges that I personally experienced that you may or may not have experienced as well as a vintage seller at flea markets is that even though you think to yourself, okay, well, I'm selling at a market, you know, it's a target audience, it really isn't. I mean, that's the truth. Markets bring in all sorts of people. So while you could technically have 100 people look at your booth, statistically, there's only a small percentage of people at certain markets that are actually going to buy from you. But it's not necessarily because they don't like secondhand. It's because your style might not fit their style, right? So you're going to have men, you're going to have women, you're going to have younger, middle age, you're going to have different micro trends come through. And it's like, how can you possibly stock your booth for all of that? Like, it's just not a good business model. And I remember being 23 years old, going to Salvation Army and buying everything I possibly could because I just wanted to make sure that I had something for everyone. And that put me into inventory debt. Which is something that we will briefly talk about also on this webinar. Inventory debt is a very bad thing. We want to avoid it. We want to know who we're buying for. And it was really hard at a flea market. So basically, guys, what happened is I was like, okay, I really love selling vintage. This is my creative outlet. I want to build a business. I want this to be successful. So I transitioned out of markets and I actually started hosting at-home events. So here are some old photos from some amazing at-home events where I would ask other New Yorkers, hey, can you invite your friends over? You know, I'll give you like a small percentage of profits so that you can use it for credit. We'll have wine, we'll have cupcakes. It'll be a big social event. And I'll meet new customers. I'll meet your friends. And that gave me a little bit more control because I was basically working with people I knew. So I sort of knew their style. So that was a little bit easier to attract the right type of client to what I was offering. But having at-home parties came with its own set of problems. So, and I'm talking about the New York City market. So I'm just being honest with you. This is a screenshot from 2008. I just paid $153 worth of parking tickets. It's so hard to drive and park in New York. So having these at-home events and just not knowing where to park and then trying to set up at their house and doing it the night before because, you know, while friends are friends, New York City apartments aren't very large. So no one wanted me to come early and set up. Like it was like the night before or the morning of. So I was always scrambling. And then I was also, you know, trying to, you know, again, just sort of squeeze as much out of that experience as possible. So it would be like a 4 or 5 hour event. And it's a lot of work. It's still a lot of work to get your clothes to someone's house, to park, to bring it up in the elevator, to set it up. I felt like a bag lady. You know, I just felt like I was constantly lugging clothes all over the place. So I was getting pretty frustrated. You know, I was discouraged. I was losing money on things like parking tickets. I was losing money on just oversourcing, you know, like it doesn't sound like a lot, but going to Salvation Army back in 2008, you could get a lot of clothes for $250, but getting a lot of clothes for $250 was still, you know, it was taking away from my bottom line because I was just buying, trying to figure out what was it that I was going to buy that people would want, but I was constantly just reaching a new market of people. So I couldn't really stay consistent. So again, I kept going. All right. Because I think when you love something, you don't give up and you keep going, trying to figure it out, trying to make it work in your life. So this is the dark ages of the internet. Mind you, over 10 years ago, we didn't have as many platforms as we do today. But I did start listing on platforms. eBay and Etsy were my top platforms. But the big but is that with listing on platforms came commissions. Okay, so if anyone here tuning in does list on platforms, you know that a large chunk of your profits goes to the platform. Every platform is different. I have a slide coming up that actually shares. Yeah, this slide. Every platform is different, and it's almost like there's this expression: you have to eat the frog. It's like, oh, okay, right, I just sold that, but like, okay, they have to take their 10%, 15%, 20%. So Etsy, and I haven't double checked these recently, the prices are the commission percentages could have gone up, because the last time that I checked was fall of 2022, and these platforms are constantly increasing their percentages. But Etsy baseline is about 6.5%. Then they charge, a processing fee, and they actually charge you for every listing, which is really annoying. They charge you 30 cents per listing. And a lot of customers expect free shipping just because of how Etsy, how Etsy is formatted. Poshmark takes 20%, which is really high. eBay takes 15%. Oops, I put percent here. I would say also on eBay, customer expects free shipping. And Depop and Mercari are the two other sort of top platforms, and they take about 10%. So again, every time you list on a platform, and what I started to experience is that you would either have to just eat the fees, or you would have to kind of like budget in the fees to your profit, right? Where it's like, okay, if I want to make 50, but I'm going to lose 20%, I'm going to have to price this so that I make 60 or even like 65 because of the transaction fee. It's a lot. So this is a really great example. Those of us who love vintage might be familiar with Gunny Sacks. It's a great vintage brand, sells for premium. Found this dress. It was about 20 bucks. Sold it for $230 on eBay. But even though I sold it for $230, I only got $197 from eBay. And then I offered free shipping, which I know was an incentive. And, to be quite frank with you, sorry, I'm going to close that chat. To be quite frank with you, something that customers expected. So I lost another $8. So I lost about $41 in fees. Now you might be listening and like, well, Sammy, that's the point of listing on a platform. Like, they sell it for you. But think about it this way, okay? If you sell 10 items and those 10 items are, higher prices, higher selling, prices, and you lose about $40 in fees for each of those 10 items, that's $400. If that's monthly, if you multiply that by 12, that's 30, that's 48. 12 times 4 is 48. So that's $4,800 a year that you're losing in fees. That's a lot. Like $4,800 a year for some people is a pay raise. $4,800 a year is, car insurance. When you really start to look at it from that perspective, it's kind of depressing, because again, as vintage sellers, right, it's not like we just like go find these items. It's not a miracle. We are working really hard to find these high profit items, and we're just losing commission. So we're losing thousands of dollars every year. The other con about platforms is that nowadays, even though some of them are like, oh, okay, vintage this, vintage that, you're still competing with fast fashion. So someone might, search for 1970s jumpsuit, which I think over here is Etsy. I think this is Depop. But they're still going to see either handmade or fast fashion. So over here with Etsy, that's handmade. This is handmade. This is vintage. This is vintage. Over here on Depop, we've got some, mass produced right below vintage. That's pretty confusing for someone shopping on the platforms. And basically, because the prices are so different, if that person, is basically price sensitive, do you think they're really going to spend $225? I mean, it's amazing. It's a 1970s corduroy flare-like jumpsuit. Are they going to really spend $225 when they're seeing next to it kind of a similar style? It's not flared, but for $51, right? It's just, it becomes like a mixed message where even though as vintage sellers, we're like, okay, cool, we're listing on these platforms, they're all about vintage, it's still, our stuff is still mixed in with fast fashion or handmade. And so it's not streamlined, and it's not as targeted as it could be. So basically, back to my story, way back in the dark ages of the internet, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands. I'm going to grow a following and I'm going to sell secondhand to them. I'm going to build my own shopping website and name it SammyDVintage.com, which was the name of my resale brand. It was Sammy Davis Vintage. And yeah, I'm going to do the dang thing. Well, I did. And, I am very proud of myself because that website is how, a lot of boss babes have, how they found me, how they've remained in touch with me. But building a website, okay, to create a vintage resale income stream, there is so much more that goes behind it. The phrase is build it and they will come. And I completely disagree with that. When it comes to building a website, you need to understand basically the back end. You need to understand search engine optimization. You need to understand blog posts and writing blogs, which now we have AI technology, so that's a little bit different. But you need to drive traffic, right? So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to build a website and like get customers. That's not it at all. You still need to create a following. So throughout that whole experience, while I did have success and I was selling things from my site, it felt like pushing a rock up a hill. It was not fast. It was not immediate. And I just basically found that it wasn't any easier to make a normal income than selling in person. So mind you, this whole time I was doing many other things to support myself, trying to build my vintage resale business. I had a storage unit at one point because I had bought so much stuff. Who can relate? You buy so much stuff because you're trying to figure out what people want, and then you have to pay to store it. I was doing a lot of freelance work, and basically I was over it. I just felt like there has to be a better way. Like there has to be a solution. So, that's my story. It doesn't have to be yours, although I have been in this industry now. I have to remember how long it's been. I guess it's been about 13 years. So I've met with a lot of boss babes, a lot of vintage boss babes, and remnants of my story are remnants of their story. Like we've all sort of had to struggle to figure it out so that, we're actually cashing in on our passion and it's not just a hobby. But my hope is that after listening to this webinar tonight, that you actually begin to see the vision that you can make money. You can actually make money selling vintage. It doesn't have to be the same struggle. And if you're new to this business, like I'm so glad you found me because you can skip all of that, right? You can skip the struggles and the flea markets and the parking tickets and the oversourcing, and you can just get right to the shortcut, the secret sauce, the solution to reaching your ideal customer base and selling consistently and without having to pay and without stress and without having to pay ridiculous fees. Something that I failed to mention about fees, because I was just so in the moment, is that not only do you sometimes have to pay commission, but you actually have to pay to promote your listing for it to be seen. So for example, with eBay, they'll charge you, like to highlight the listing, they'll charge you to boost it. I heard a rumor recently that they were taking their commission off of your shipping that you were charging. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So there's a lot of hidden fees when it comes to listing on the platforms, and I want to show you a way to avoid that. So we're about, my goodness, maybe 15 minutes into the presentation. I'm really going to try to wrap at about 8:15. It's 7:24 EST. If you stick around into the end, I'm going to give you a link to download this freebie. It's the Vintage Brands I Look For Sourcing Guide. So if you are new to vintage resale, this is a really great download for you. It's going to help you to understand what names on what brands to look for on the tags. And it's going to give you access to some more information to learn about vintage fashion history. So definitely stick around so that you can get that slide and you can download the freebie. So here's what you're about to learn tonight. This is well organized so that you guys can take it in and digest. But you're going to learn 3 secrets. The first secret is the secret sauce to attracting consistent sales. No more, oh, I'm only making money when I'm at the market. No more, oh, I'm only making money when I do some sort of like, at home event, or I list 100 items on Etsy. No, we want to show you how to get consistent sales. Secret number 2, how to go to the right selling party and where to find them. So you're probably like, what do you mean by party? I will talk to you about that in secret 2, but it's a fun party to go to, let me tell you. And secret number 3, how to be in the know and only buy the good stuff. What this means is how to know what to buy for your target audience. Because again, inventory debt is real, guys. Inventory debt will destroy your resale business, because all of a sudden, maybe you've made $1,000, but you've spent $1,200. So that's negative 200 profit, right? We want you to make $1,000 and spend 200 so that you have 800 profit. And the only way that you can really do that is when you understand who your customer is. And I'm going to show you one of the many ways to know that. Okay. So let's first talk about secret number 1. Show me the money. How do you get consistent sales? This is the part of the webinar where we talk about, yes, you deserve it. Yes, you are worthy. You deserve to have an abundant business in resale. You deserve to hear the cha-ching, and this is all metaphorical, but the cha-ching of a cash register from your phone each and every day, and possibly multiple times per day. And let's also talk about money delivering to your PayPal, money delivering to your Venmo consistently, okay? So enter social selling. This is my favorite buzzword right now. What is social selling? Okay. Social selling, which I'm about to really dive into in these next few slides, but just to give you a big picture understanding right now, social selling is how you can connect with others who become your target audience, who become your customers through the power of social media. Not only are you connecting with them through the power of, say, showing items for sale and them purchasing them from you, but you're connecting with them because you're communicating with them, you're getting to know them, and you're engaging with them in a virtual way. So Etsy, eBay, Depop, all of them, Poshmark, all of them have some social components, but they don't have the same social components as a social media platform. Social media platforms are TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord. We're really focusing on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram tonight. But these are platforms where you can make friends. And by friends, I mean internet friends. They may or may not be people that you meet in real life eventually, but you literally can make friends. And because of that know, like, trust relationship, hear me once more. No, I know you. And as I get to know you, I get to like you. And as I start to like you, I trust you. That creates a very strong, seller to customer relationship. Let's move on to the next slide here. This is the reason I use this image here is because the power of social selling, it also creates competition around the items that you are selling. It creates urgency and it creates speed of sale because you are using a social media platform where there are hundreds to thousands of people circulating around your items. And they know that if they don't grab that item right then and there, that someone else can come in and swoop it up. You don't really experience that on the platforms. So back to social selling and the power that, this, again, buzzword in technology has for you as a vintage seller. I want you guys to imagine attracting your ideal customer. So some of you listening in, if you already have a resale business, you might specialize in something. You might have a certain, just like, aesthetic, okay? Sorry, Suri is listening to me on my iPad. So you might have a certain aesthetic and you want to, understand, where can I find that ideal customer? Where can I find someone that wants what I like versus me changing who I am to attract a customer to buy my stuff. So imagine that basically everything is congruent and who you are attracts your ideal customer. Imagine how it would feel like to get higher prices for your garments because customers are hungry for what you have. So let's also go back to the platforms. Let's also go back to selling on a market. There's a lot of haggling. There's a lot of make an offer. Poshmark is notorious for that. People make these lowball offers. I try not to list on Poshmark ever because I know that people are just going to lowball me. And it's almost offensive versus on a social platform. When people really want what you have, when you put a price on it, they are going to spend it and they're not going to haggle their way to a lower price because it's a social platform. They're not anonymous. They're not hiding in the bushes somewhere. They're not never going to see you again. They respect you as much as you respect them. Imagine understanding a market and knowing what to source for them. Okay. So imagine that in a social space with social selling components, you can connect with your customer and your customer is literally posting ISOs, which stands for in search of. These are two great examples from a few years ago. When you know what your customer wants, you can go into your inventory and see if you have it. B, you can keep your eye out for it. Or C, if you have a source and you know where those items are, you can go source it for them and make a direct sale. You can't do that on the platforms. You can't be on eBay and someday someone it could happen, but it's very rare. People don't really message you asking, oh, can you go find this for me? Because they don't know you. But on a social selling space, they know you and they like you and they trust you and they're going to ask you to help them to find what they're in search of. And then again, I kind of already mentioned this, but just to say what's on the slide. Imagine customers telling you what they want you to source for them, and then they buy it from you. So this is just a great example of a post I made in Vintage Boss Babes, where I say, hey, it's spring shopping season. What are everyone's, in search ofs? And people are posting over here to the right what they want. And then the sellers in the group are like, oh, okay, thanks for letting me know because I'm going to go source it for you. And then I'm going to let you know that I have it and you might buy it from me. Very easy, a much easier transaction. And then last, imagine building personal relationships with customers who confidently buy from you again and again and again. I love social selling because I don't have to go find new customers all the time. I mean, new customers are great. But when people get to like you and they know that, again, your taste is what appeals to them, they're also not going to bother looking anywhere else. I mean, we all have our favorite restaurant. We all have our favorite gas station. We have our favorites. Think of you as becoming someone's favorite through the power of social selling. You become their favorite resale brand, vintage brand. And then imagine never feeling pressured to pay for promotion or sharing listings. Again, promotion, eBay, other platforms, Etsy, they kind of want you to pay them more money so that your stuff gets seen. So personally, whenever I list on eBay, and I tend to list a lot of electronics and stuff like that on eBay, I pay for promotion. Poshmark, sharing listings is a big thing on Poshmark. And that's a lot of pressure. People don't have time for that. People have to go farm, some sort of software to help them share listings. It's very this, right? It's just like this picture over here where you're just like, I have to do all these things just to sell my clothes. I don't want to have to do all these things. You want the freedom. Imagine the freedom of just spending less time overall selling your garments, and then less time creating listings and less time creating lifestyle photos. The power of social selling also is that things don't have to be perfect. You don't need to have box lights and professional models. You're just posting photos of items for sale. And it's much easier than the pressure of feeling like you have to create a lifestyle brand so that amongst the hundreds and thousands of other resellers, a customer who potentially finds you more appealing. And that's, why a lot of people feel like, oh, I have to be so professional on the platforms because they're competing with a lot of other sellers. So, okay, here's a quick rundown of just how you can experience social selling. How can you experience everything I just told you that I want you to imagine, right? All of these benefits of social selling. Well, you first need to find a social selling space you like, okay? As many of you know, because I've been promoting this all over social media, I run a social selling space called Vintage Boss Babes. I'm going to talk to you more about it later in tonight's presentation. But we're not the only social selling space. First of all, there's tons of groups, other social selling groups that you can become a member of. There are also Instagram communities, and there's apps. There's entire apps that create a social selling space for you to tap into. But you want to enter this community, right? Whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, on an app, maybe it's on TikTok, maybe it's somewhere else. And you want to figure out what that community is looking for by forming relationships and asking questions. So for a quick example, you might be more of like a Y2K seller or more of a streetwear seller. You need to find a social selling space that really wants that niche. You can't just throw yourself into any old social selling space. I mean, you can, but what I do recommend is that you take some time to explore these spaces to just decide if it's right for you. Back to Vintage Boss Babes, that it's not right for everyone, but it is perfect for the people that it's right for. Once you find a social selling space that you gel with, that you vibe with, I want you to source and I want you to list quickly, or just list quickly, because most of us have inventory already. List quickly so that you can connect with customers. You can understand what they're really looking for at the prices that they're comfortable spending, and you can sell quickly and you can just rinse and repeat. Consistency isn't, well, success is in consistency, and consistency is in daily actions. So, social selling makes selling more vintage easier, but you still have to be consistent at it. It's still work, but it's not as much work as everything that I shared with you at the beginning of this presentation tonight. And I want to really quickly, I just accepted a bunch of new attendees. Thank you for being on the live webinar. I'm Sammy. Welcome. I do have the chat open. You guys are on mute. Your cameras are off, so you can go about your evening, and it won't interrupt the flow of this presentation. If you missed the beginning, don't worry. I will be sending the replay link to you guys, so you'll get that over email. So let's also just talk a little bit more about the benefits of social selling. Okay, yes, this can happen on the platforms. You can have sales in 9 minutes, but it happens a lot more on the social selling platforms, because the social selling platform is where people are active. It's where people are doing other things. They are using social media. They are being social. So they're more likely to see what you have for sale, even if they're not shopping. Even if they logged into Facebook or Instagram or wherever, they didn't have shopping in their minds, but they might see something and go, oh, I need to buy this. And that's how you can have sales in 9 minutes. So this is just a really great example where I posted something at 3:24 and it sold at 3:33. I mean, she sent the message at 3:33. I think I officially got the money maybe an hour later, but that was a really fast sale for me. And that was all thanks to the power of social selling. This coat, it cost me $60. I sold it for $189. I tend to offer free shipping. So that shipping cost was $10. So I made $119 in 9 minutes. I had it, I think, for about 10 days before I actually listed it. The time it took to sell, that should say 9 minutes, it says 8, but the time it took to list 5, because I'm using social media. I'm not making it a big deal. I think I actually posted this photo. This is from last year, guys. So I was still wearing a mask, but this was an example of a pure vintage resale win. Now, if I had put this on eBay, again, eBay takes about 15%. So that's about $20, no, maybe $17 off of my profit. Maybe even more, because I'm not quite sure their exact fees. I feel like they're constantly changing. But I made $119 without having to pay a single fee except for free shipping. So again, where can you guys experience social selling for yourself? I first want to tell you guys that you can go on Facebook right now and you can go into the search bar for groups. Most likely, you're going to get suggested groups based off of your interests. I always get, vintage, secondhand, mid-century modern, just everything that has to do with just resale. If you're already in some resale groups, it will suggest more to you. If you're not getting those type of groups, then go and search for like 1960s, vintage, secondhand, just put in a bunch of keywords to see what pops up and start to explore and start to see what else is out there, because it's a big world on Facebook. All right. I think it's like 1 billion people use Facebook. So that's a lot of groups. And some of those groups are international, and that might be the right place for you. Like, I don't know. I don't know what you sell, but what I do know is that there's a social selling space for everyone. You can also turn to mobile apps. Now, I just put 2 here that you may or may not know about. These are live selling platforms as well as daily listing platforms. Jamble is great. It's fairly new. Whatnot, I think a lot of people know about. Both of them offer live selling. Jamble offers the opportunity for you to also build, your own store, so that every time you have a live sale, people can shop the store while they're on your live sale. And again, these are other examples of social selling apps, because you get to know people, you connect, you message them, you have engagement with them. Now, there's also social selling spaces on Instagram. This is a pretty famous one. It's focused on luxury fashion. It's called Coveted by Christos. There are others like this. There are, influencers, store owners, just leaders in the resale space that are welcoming you onto their platform, and you can host a live sale with them. You can engage with their following. You can follow their following, become friends with their following, and all of a sudden you have grown a customer list just because you engaged with someone else's social selling space, live sale platform on Instagram. All right, so let's talk about secret number 2, which I've already started to address, which is live selling. What is the right selling party? Okay, so we've all talked, or we've all experienced going to a party where you're kind of like, okay, I don't know if these are my people. I'm not really having a good time. So finding the right live selling platform is, it's about finding the right party. It's about going to the right party. It's about creating a vintage expo from the comfort of your own home. So if you have never hosted a live sale, I'm sure many of you have watched them, but if you've never hosted a live sale, having a live sale it's so much like going to an expo, or again, maybe just a more high-end vintage market. And these events cost a lot of money to be a vendor. But instead of, traveling and setting up and paying $300, $400, $500, $1,000 for this expo, you are going onto someone else's expo platform from the comfort of your own home without having to leave, and you're spending a lot less money and a lot less time, because you're finding the right party by hosting a live sale. You're basically creating the party from the comfort of your own home. So I had a live sale actually right here in this room last night, and I hosted a party. I had a vintage expo from the comfort of my home. This is actually me last night. Here are some other sellers from Vintage Boss Babes who are also creating their own party, creating an expo, or really just selling on the Vintage Boss Babes expo from the comfort of their live homes. So back to my origin story. When I used to host at-home parties, where I would, ask friends, okay, can you invite all of your girlfriends and I'll bring stuff to you? That was me trying to find the right party. That was me trying to create the right party. But I had to drag my stuff. I had to get it up the stairs or up the elevator. It took hours. Versus the live sale. Yes, there is some investment. Yes, you have to get things organized, right? It's not the snap of the fingers, but it's a lot less time and a lot less money than going outside of your home and selling somewhere else. I love the fact that when you can host a live sale, and this is all Facebook, but let's imagine Instagram, let's imagine some other sort of social selling app, you can connect with people. You can see what they're saying to you live. Again, on just a static platform, like there's really no conversation. I mean, on Poshmark, I think you can like comment below items. But this, it just creates such a, just, how do I say it? It's almost like just a four-dimensional experience where you feel like your viewers are in the room with you, and then they're buying. They are buying. And they are not just buying on the live, but they're buying on the replay. One of the advantages of doing hosting live sales on Facebook is that you do have that replay. I'm not quite sure about other platforms. Instagram, you can kind of have a replay if you download the video and post it onto your Instagram feed. But really the easiest way to have replay sales is to record a Facebook Live. It lives. You can share it to your customer list. You can share it on other platforms. You can share it from the platform where you were selling onto your personal page. Like there's basically, it has legs. And that's why I love Facebook, because while I might sell, 15 items during the live, I can sell another 5 to 10 with the replay push. Okay, we have moved on to secret number 3. And Suri is still listening to me. Suri wants to be a part of the live sale. Or she wants to be a part of this training. So only sourcing the good stuff. So I'm going to keep it real with you guys. We as vintage sellers, it's about the thrill of the hunt, right? It's about sourcing. I mean, why else would we do this business? We want to go out and just discover gems and just find stuff and be out in the world and just be alive, right? Like I think one of my favorite things to do is to travel somewhere new and just go thrift. And that is how I'm a tourist. That's how I'm experiencing the world. But the problem with that is that we oftentimes buy things that we don't sell, and we go into inventory debt, or we all of a sudden have to, get a storage unit because we have so much stuff, or it's also just mentally taxing versus really fully understanding what the market wants. And the best way for you to know what the market wants is to be participating in a social selling space. You might not know right away what they want. You might have to test it out and just sort of do some trial and error, but over time you figure it out because you know who your customers are, you know what people are consistently buying, because you're seeing what's selling and you're seeing what people are commenting on and what they're attracted to. Okay, so this is a great example of this jumpsuit that I posted. It's a cachet, and I just posted it. I had no idea that people would be literally commenting saying that they want to buy it. Like I just posted it as like an outfit post and people wanted to buy it. I would never have that experience and anywhere else, not even like my Instagram stories, because my Instagram stories aren't really a social selling community per se. It's the Facebook group that's a community. So this really gave me some great insights into what else I could source and what else I could successfully sell. So when you're in a Facebook group, and again, this is all Vintage Boss Babes, but any Facebook group, you're going to be able to scroll through and see what sold and see what sold and see what sold. Most sellers keep their prices, not always, but you'll understand the price points. You'll understand, their captions, how they're describing the items. How many, I'm sorry, let me scroll back, how many photos they're using. And it just really teaches you very quickly how to be a better seller within that social selling space, because you're able to have transparency around what's selling from other sellers. So eBay, Etsy, Poshmark, I mean, you could spend some time going through hundreds of listings and seeing what sells, but that's really not going to benefit you the same way seeing what sells in a Facebook community will benefit you. And I'm just showing right now static posts, but as you watch live sales, that also helps you. You begin to notice trends. And as you begin to notice trends, you go, okay, I'm noticing that these sort of items at these price points are selling really well. I have a bunch of them in storage. Let me bring them out for my next live sale. Or let me look for those at the next estate sale that I happen to visit. And I'm going to pass over this other stuff because this is what's selling. So I don't want to buy stuff that isn't going to sell. I'm not going to waste my time and my money. I'm going to focus on what's selling. So just as a quick example, vintage Gucci, vintage designers sell really well in Vintage Boss Babes. So as you spend time in the group and you see how those items are selling, you might run into a estate sale, or someone might refer someone to you who has a whole collection of vintage Gucci. And you're like, oh yes, I know exactly where to sell that. And I know where to sell it quickly. And that's in a group like Vintage Boss Babes. All right, let's see. Okay, so I don't know everyone on this live. I did see a few familiar names, and I appreciate you being on because many of you have been sellers or are sellers. But if you've never been a reseller in a social selling space before, and let's just say you've never sold anything, you're just like, okay, I'm here, I just kind of want to learn about resale. If you feel like you're starting from nothing, I want you to know that you can build a vintage selling empire. You can literally change your life. You can create an additional income stream that could potentially just do a 180 on whatever circumstance is holding you back right now. I don't know everyone's financial situation. There's no promises I can make, but what I have witnessed as admin of Vintage Boss Babes, as founder of Vintage Boss Babes, since 2019, we are heading into our 4th year this July, is that those who use social selling and just truly make it a priority, they're making minimum $1,000 extra per month. I've seen some sellers, I have some screenshots coming up. Oh, I'll have to show them later. But I've seen some sellers, guys, thousands in one live sale. That is just absolutely phenomenal. That is life-changing because again, you're not leaving your home. You're not spending all this extra time going somewhere. Being a vintage seller is a lot of extra time. It's for the love, it's for the passion, but what my North Star is for you guys is to see you guys profit, and to see you guys profit the easiest way so that you can just focus on the things that you love about this business. So I think I went through everything pretty quickly. My joke is that, if I could really just keep chatting with you guys, this webinar would be hours long because I'd be showing you this, I'd be showing you that, I'd be talking to you about how she does it and what I've seen there. But I want to ask you guys a question. So if you guys are tuning in, can you let me know in the chat if I can tell you, this is a really important part of the webinar. Can I tell you, I just want your permission, how to get started with social selling today? Can I show you with the next few slides, let me know if that's okay, how to get started with social selling today? Just let me know in the chat with okay. Again, I'm going to give you guys my email at the end of this presentation. I want you to email me any questions. If you're my Facebook friend or know how to find me on Facebook, I want you to send me PMs. But I really want to just show you. Okay, I'm seeing a ton of chats. Yay! You guys are so awesome. Okay, great. Yay. Okay. So we have about 20 minutes before I want to wrap this up. But I want to show you guys how to get started with Vintage Boss Babes. So I was pretty transparent with the marketing of this webinar. I do this webinar because I want to show you guys what's possible. I want to inspire you. I want to educate you. I want to put you on the path of social selling, but I also want to show you how you can get started tonight with Vintage Boss Babes, which is the social selling Facebook group that I created in 2019. I am about to give you guys a very special offer. This is a special offer. I don't know if I'm ever going to do it again, to be perfectly honest with you. And I want you to become one of these many faces. We have had many more sellers than this. These are just some examples of the many people, the many boss babes who have been sellers in our community over the past 3.5 years. So I'm going to give you guys a way to join Vintage Boss Babes tonight. And you're going to be able to get a Vintage Seller Starter Pack full of educational materials I'm about to go over with you for like practically free. Okay, I'm not going to give you guys the price quite yet, but it is practically free. So hold on so that you guys can get the information so that you can take advantage of the special offer. You're also going to get access to the best membership pricing for Vintage Boss Babes before it increases on March 1st. So full transparency, guys, Vintage Boss Babes, we are a membership community, and I haven't changed the pricing for a year and 5 months now. I think the last time I changed it was October of 2021. Yeah, so it's been about a year and 5 months. So this special offer, it also includes you being grandmothered in to the current pricing so that you don't have to pay the extra fees when things go up. So really quickly, if you are just like, okay, cut to the chase, I don't want to listen anymore, I'm ready to join Vintage Boss Babes, head on over to joinvintagebossbabes.com. You're going to see this landing page and you're going to see the special offer. It's a condensed version, but you can sign up with that special offer immediately. So let me explain to you guys, by signing up for Vintage Boss Babes with this special offer, what you're going to get. Vintage Boss Babes is a group of 5,000 people. By posting items for sale in the group, you're going to get in front of potentially 5,000 people daily. You're going to be able to host a live sale or live sales. You can host up to 3 per month and reach people like you're at a virtual convention. You can sell live, you can sell live in the replay, and you're going to build customer relationships for life. You own those customer relationships. Own is a strong word, but you are the one that you form these relationships in Vintage Boss Babes, and you can carry them with you wherever you go. Now, you can post as many items for sale as you want. It is unlimited posting in Vintage Boss Babes. Those that post daily and post consistently daily, I mean, some people I'm noticing are making hundreds per day because they're posting more higher end items every single day. You can also use comment thread sales, which is when you make one post and then you post items for sale in the comments below that post. I'm not going to really walk you guys through that right now, but that is an option for you in Vintage Boss Babes. Basically, there's no space issues. You guys, you're not paying 30 cents a listing like you are on Etsy, or 25 cents a listing like you are on eBay. You're not spending a gazillion hours making the perfect photos. You're just listing items for sale. So again, you're going to experience regular sales from customers who know and love you, customers who get to know you through the power of a social media platform. I'm sorry, I keep going back. Okay, here we go. So as soon as you guys sign up, if you go to joinvintagebossbabes.com, you can begin posting vintage items for sale. So I sometimes have people sign up and they're like, when can I get started? I signed up. I'm like, start posting now. Make some money tonight. I dare you. Let's do it. Let's get that initial investment back. You can also host comment thread sales at any time. And my suggestion is just do this daily, learn from your activity and connections, and you're going to start selling immediately. Again, some quick reminders about participating in Vintage Boss Babes. No listing fees. So again, it's a flat membership fee per month, and you guys are going to get a special offer to join practically for free. Okay, it's coming up here. No commissions. So you can sell something for $100 and you get $100, right? You don't lose 20% of that. There's no gimmicks, which is such an extreme word, but I'm not selling you something and then taking advantage of you guys later. Like this is what it is. It's only results. It's only fun. It's only social selling. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Vintage Boss Babes has changed my life, and I would love it for you to change yours. Okay, so, and again, just to clarify, as soon as you sign up, you can book a live sale immediately. The link to register for a live sale will be in your membership confirmation email. If you don't see that membership confirmation email, just let me know, but I will see that you signed up and I will reach out to you over Facebook. So we'll instantly connect. So are you guys ready to experience these type of results? These are screenshots from some sellers in Vintage Boss Babes that hosted a 60-minute or a 90-minute live sale. We're talking $1,200 in sales, $1,500 in sales, $750 in sales, $800 in sales, $1,150 in sales. Are you ready to connect with customers who love buying from you? These are just two examples of just like appreciation posts, which I love, sort of igniting that in the group. And that's the other benefit of being in the social selling space, like Vintage Boss Babes, is I do my best to just keep that glue, so that you feel bonded with others. And the buyers love you guys. The buyers love the sellers. They're just so appreciative of what you have to offer them. So you're really providing a service. So are you guys ready? Like, seriously, are you ready to join Vintage Boss Babes and save time and make top dollar on your vintage items? Some of us live in certain areas of the country where even if we had a brick and mortar store, we couldn't sell items for the prices that we can sell them for on a social selling space. And I'm sorry, guys, I keep going back. I don't know why that is. So let's just really quickly recap what you get by joining Vintage Boss Babes tonight. You can list as many items as you want. You can list up to 5 items per post at a time. You can also host comment thread sales, which is basically infinite items for sale under one post. You're never going to pay a single commission. You're only going to pay the monthly registered seller fee. This means that all money goes back into your pocket. So again, if you sell a piece of jewelry for $250, you take home that $250. Now, if you use PayPal, you might pay PayPal a little bit of money, but you don't have to. You can use another, another payment service that gives you full control. And then what's also important is that you're going to understand what the market wants to buy so that you can go and source it and quickly make a sale. So you're going to just basically understand what that target audience wants and needs and how it changes over time. You're going to connect with hungry, vintage loving customers and maintain contact with these customers for future sales. Again, back to the beginning of this presentation, even if you're at a market or at some sort of event or selling on eBay, there's so many different types of people with different style personalities. So it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm selling at this event, but actually like it's a streetwear event. I should have brought streetwear. I didn't know all these people want streetwear. Like that's the worst feeling ever when you have a collection of 1970s polyester, but in Vintage Boss Babes, it's very easy to see what people want and you're not going to get lost and you're not going to get confused. You're going to be able to stop paying commissions. You're going to be able to stop oversourcing. You're going to be able to stop going into inventory debt. And you're just going to be able to start growing the vintage resale business of your dreams. I really want everyone to shoot for the stars, but you have full control in this community. You never ever have to post. You never ever have to buy a live sale. You can be a member and post a few times a week if you want, or never at all. But wouldn't it be worth it? Okay, because I want you guys to see the vision. Wouldn't it be worth it to make $4,000 plus? I mean, again, there are no promises. I always have to say like disclosure, like nothing's guaranteed, but this is literally a screenshot from the seller who sold $4,000 plus from a special event live sale. $4,000 in 90 minutes. I can't even fathom. So let's also talk really quickly about the bonuses that you're going to get. And if you haven't gone to joinvintagebossbabes.com to see that special offer, I encourage you to open up a tab on your browser and just go to Join Vintage Boss Babes. But in addition to getting the best membership opportunity where you're basically getting in for free for your first month, you're going to get a ton of free bonuses. So here's the free bonuses. The first one, as part of the vintage starter pack, is shipping for resellers. So you're going to learn how to use Pirate Ship, which is what I recommend as a shipping service. It's just going to give you the 411 on how to use it so that once you start selling, you basically know how to ship and you're not in the dark. You're also going to get a promoting your live sale checklist. So a lot of times I have sellers that they're just not really familiar with how to promote themselves. We help you in Vintage Boss Babes with these resources so that you are prepared and you are promoting yourself like a champ. So really quickly, you're going to get that Vintage Boss Babes 1 month seller membership at a $25 value as part of the special offer. The shipping for resellers, I have sold for $47. The promoting your live sale checklist is about a $27 value. You're also going to get my 35-minute presentation, how to succeed as a live seller in Vintage Boss Babes. That will also help you to get started as a live seller so that you're not super overwhelmed. So we've got that 1 month membership, shipping for resellers, promoting your live sale checklist, and then how to succeed as a live seller in Vintage Boss Babes, which is a video valued at $47. You're also going to get a whole set of slides on dating vintage clothing. If you are new to vintage, this could be really helpful for you. So again, we've got the membership, shipping, promoting your live sale, how to succeed as a live seller, dating vintage clothing workshop valued at $47. You're also going to get marketing your vintage clothing to Facebook groups, which is kind of an extension of, how to find a social selling space. So you'll learn a little bit more about that. So that if you're like, oh, okay, I like Vintage Boss Babes, but where else can I sell? You'll understand where to find those platforms. So I already went through all of these freebies. You're also going to get that marketing your vintage clothing in the Facebook groups freebie, and newly added, you're going to get an official onboarding guide. So I realized, I guess about 6 months ago, that there's so much good information around selling in Vintage Boss Babes that I tend to piecemeal to people one-on-one, that it would be to their benefit just to get an onboarding guide so you can look through everything and then be like, okay, I think I fully understand this. Now let me jump in or ask Sammy other questions or explore, what I need to explore to just make myself feel more confident. So this is kind of like your, how do I say this? Like company, like new employee handbook. It's like you're a new employee of Vintage Boss Babes. Okay, so I want you guys to imagine that what if all you did was invest tonight, join Vintage Boss Babes, and get 100 times your money back in 30 days? What if that's all that happened? If you sign up in the next 72 hours by going to joinvintagebosspapes.com, again, you can begin posting in the group immediately and book a live sale and make money immediately. Here, I finally give you guys the special offer. So I alluded to it a few times. You can join Vintage Boss Babes for $1. Yes, $1. And I should be dramatic and have $1 near me just to show you guys. This is the only time. I don't do this in the group. I don't do it over email blast. Only if you come to this webinar, sign up to this webinar, do you get this opportunity to join for $1. You have to join by 9 p.m. on Saturday, February 25th. You're going to get all those freebies I just shared with you from the seller starter pack. And all you have to do is go to joinvintagebosspapes.com and put either your PayPal or your credit card information, and you will become a seller in Vintage Boss Babes. Now, this $1 applies to your first 30 days. And then the monthly membership will automatically charge you after 30 days. You are welcome to cancel. All you have to do is cancel from either your receipt or send me a message. But what I want to remind you guys is that on March 1st, the cost, the monthly membership, that is how there's no commission fees. This is how you can post unlimited in the group, have access to these customers. That membership fee does jump to $30 for new members. So if you sign up tonight with this special offer, you are grandmothered into that $25 per month membership. If you decide to cancel and come back, you'd have to pay that $30. But as long as you stay as a seller, as a paying seller, you're only going to pay $25. Anyone who signs up on March 1st or later, their cost is $30 per month. And remember, your first month is just $1. So if you sign up tonight, you're going to have 30 days to try out Vintage Boss Babes, to make some money. Again, what if? What if just that $1 investment becomes 100 or 500 or 1,000 because tonight you said, okay, what the heck? Let me try this out for myself. So I want to really quickly, and I know that we have probably almost hit our time. It's 8:10. I get these questions a lot. Okay. I get these questions about live selling, and I just want to go over them with you really quickly, just so that I can sort of contest your fears. A lot of people come to me and say, I'm afraid of public speaking. I don't know if I could handle a live. I don't know what to say and I trip on my words. Well, let me tell you something about myself. I never know what I'm saying on a live. Sometimes as I'm speaking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I must sound ridiculous. But the truth is, it's just energy. And these are people that get to know you. They're not necessarily strangers. And the truth is that by conquering your nerves, you make money. So I just love this example where we had a seller who was really nervous. She posted a sneak peek. People wanted to buy from her before she even went live. I mean, that was so motivating for her to just be like, okay, let me do it. Let me just take a chance on myself. And over time, you do get better. Something else that's a true reality for people is that social media for selling can be overwhelming. Facebook, some people don't like it. Some people just don't want to be on Facebook. But the truth is, like, would you rather talk to people in real life or online? Because at least online you have some barriers, some boundaries. You can block people, you can avoid your feed, you can only friend certain people. But when you're at a brick and mortar store or at a market or just some sort of event, you have to talk to whoever talks to you to really make a sale. So I would much rather prefer being online. As much as I know sometimes social media can be a lot, I like the control of it. And then a lot of people go, well, I don't know what to source. I don't know how to price. How to price is the big one. The beauty of Vintage Boss Babes is because you're going to have immediate feedback from your customers. So you're going to know what to source and how to price versus hearing nothing, right? So if you post something on Etsy, nothing happens. You don't have feedback. You don't, have people commenting, but then like maybe not buying because, if people are commenting, they probably like it. The price is probably just maybe not the right price for them, or, maybe you have to like wrap it into a special offer. Basically, social selling gives you insights to be a better marketer of your goods and to understand what to choose. It also shows you if you sell something laser fast, maybe price it a little higher next time, or just keep sourcing that style of item. I'm always surprised by what sells really fast. And I say surprised because I'm always learning. And social selling gives me immediate feedback. You can also use Vintage Boss Babes or any social selling platform to, just ask what people are looking for. If you don't know what to source, ask. Be like, hey guys, are you wearing this trend? Like, are you wearing denim maxi skirts? Because I have a few. Or, what are you looking for? I'll go find it for you. And then you can also see what other sellers are selling and how they're pricing. On no other platform can you actually really see that transparency. A lot of people want to protect their prices. They kind of want to protect what they're selling. Well, it's an open book on Vintage Boss Babes. So I don't know what else you guys need. I'm just going to be real with you. Launching Vintage Boss Babes was the best decision of my life. It's actually it's an extension of a secondhand shopping interest group called Thrift Babes that I started in 2018. Creating this as a membership community was also the best decision because it gives you guys the power to have access to a customer base and to be the exclusive sellers on the platform. You get all of my support. You get community events. You get a thriving, growing, robust customer base that you can connect with via Vintage Boss Babes and continue to connect with off Vintage Boss Babes. If you sign up tonight through 9 p.m. on 2/25, which is Saturday, you're going to get all of this for free. And what's going to happen is you'll get that registration email and you'll get information on how to access this. on a course dashboard. So it's very easy to access. And then again, guys, that membership price for Vintage Boss Babes to be a registered seller, it does increase on March 1st. But if you sign up with the special offer, you'll be able to just stay with that $25 per month, which is pretty awesome. So what if, okay, I realize that, you might be like, I don't know if I have the time, or I just don't know if this is for me. I would say just give it a shot and just know that you can cancel, and just know that it's not personal. I want you guys to experience it for yourself. I want to see new sellers in the group make their first sale and feel excited. I want to see you guys host a live sale and go, holy cannoli, I can't believe all these people just showed up and bought from me. This is amazing. I want you guys to get bit by the social selling bug. I don't know where else you're going to go from here. But again, my North Star is to show you that there is a better way. There is an easier way to sell more vintage. So if you've stayed on to this point, thank you. And I see I have a couple of chats. If you have any questions at this point, feel free to ask them in the chat. But this is where you can also download my vintage labels sourcing guide. So if you're not super familiar with vintage, this is a great guide for you just to understand what names to look for on tags. That's another big question that I get, like, is this vintage? It takes time to just learn, but this is, a great, resource for you, and it's free. And then also part 2 is obscure, more obscure vintage labels, which can give you, kind of a leg up when you're sourcing for your business. Again, if you guys do have my Facebook information, you're welcome to DM me, but you can also send me an email at Vintage Boss Babes, if that's easier for you. I'm also going to just end on the fact that, you guys don't have to sign up tonight. Vintage Boss Babes, it's an open door. It's an open door for you guys to join when you're ready. But again, this is the best way for you to just try Vintage Boss Babes almost risk-free. So it's $1. It's $1 to start selling and to just get started on the next level of your vintage resale journey. So I'm going to see what sort of comments we have. And thank you guys so much for being here. Yes, Rachel is registering. Okay, any help on sourcing both online and in person? How about the live sales? Okay, you might be asking the cost of the live sales, Julia. So, I don't, in this webinar, I've never been like, okay, these are the live sale costs, because, sorry guys, my lipstick there. Because I'm always changing it every month. So sometimes I run specials. But on average, it's 90 minutes for anywhere between $50 and $60. It costs $5 for me to run our bot, which I don't talk about on the webinar, so I don't complicate things, but I do take care of that for you guys. So that's another big question. I should probably include it on the webinar now that you bring it up. But you guys don't have to pay for that fee. That's something that I take on. So it's a really great value. If we ever do like shorter live sales, price will be less. Sometimes I do special events, Julia, so it'll be like a theme, or again, it'll be some sort of just like special offer for you guys. So I try to change things up, and that's really just because, keeps things fresh. But typically we have 1 live seller per night, except for special events. I don't like to stack people unless it's a special event. Okay, Dante. Any help on sourcing, both online and in person? So I offer coaching. I love offering coaching. Something I actually offer is a inventory review, so that, if you want to go over your clothes before a live sale, I will help you with pricing. I will help you with, basically what to pull. My feedback for people is I always remind them, see what's selling in the group, see what's selling on the live sales. And remember that if you think that this is easy for someone else to find, I wouldn't bother putting it in a live sale. Maybe posting it in the group, at like a pretty reasonable price. But again, like a black top, like how many black tops can you find on your own, especially as like an experienced secondhand shopper? But hey, like some sort of, printed, 1980s sweater that's like super awesome, that's going to be a better option for a live sale. So, that's again sort of just the big picture training that I offer, but doing it like specifically with you, that is something that I offer at an additional cost. And then you can also always, post in the group. I mean, use the group. If you're a registered seller, I want to see you guys make a post and be like, what do you guys want? Do you want this? What outfit should I wear in my live sale? And that engagement and that connection, that's marketing yourself and that's promoting yourself while also getting the information that you need. You can create polls in the group. I mean, this group is for you. I'm only strict with people that aren't registered sellers because you guys are paying. So I want to have, you guys have the exclusive rights to participate in the group as a seller. Um, oh, Claudia. Hey, Claudia. You were probably on like your partner's Zoom account. And Claudia, you have been like, I mean, you out of anyone, I think, know what sells in live sales. And I'm sure you have quite the collection. And this could just be something that you do for like 2 or 3 months. And yeah, like we would love to have you. Um, okay, cool. I think that's everything, guys. I will be sending out this replay. I think that I went over time. I always do. It's 8:21. Yay, someone just joined. Yay, someone just joined. You guys see? They just joined right there. Thanks, Claudia. Like I said, I haven't hosted this in September, so I went through all my slides, and then sometimes I get like a little like, but I already said that, and send the next slide. But basically, from the bottom of my heart, I really see value in this for everyone, and the fact that you can just form these relationships. It's above and beyond any other way to sell. I just think this is the future. Social selling will continue to evolve. We will have a metaverse. We will have virtual reality. I might be shopping in your closet at some point. Like I'm literally transported there. And so, yeah, future is bright. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to jump off for now. And yay, Katie. That's so awesome. Surprise birthday dinner. Okay, you go. I love that. Have a great time. And yes, we are so excited to have you. Okay, guys, so I'm going to sign off. You'll get this replay link. You'll get all the information to join. You have until Saturday night. And yeah, I'm really excited. Let's do this. March Madness. We're going to actually have some daily posting challenges in the group, which will be really great because everyone in the group will know what's happening. So there's going to be some really awesome daily selling. So yeah, I'm excited. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's sell more vintage. Okay, bye.